In 2020, a dangerous virus called the coronavirus started to change. Because it changed, scientists could not find a cure. The virus killed 56% of the people who caught it. Soon, 110 million people died around the world. Only a few people were safe because their bodies could fight the virus. These people were called immune. The government let immune people leave their houses, but they had to wear a special bracelet. Every morning, everyone had to check their temperature on their cell phones. If someone had even a small fever, the phone app sent an alert. Then, workers took them away to scary quarantine zones called Q zones. People said that no one ever came back from those zones.
By the year 2024, people had been locked inside their homes for 4 years. A young man named Nico was immune to the virus. He worked as a delivery guy on a bicycle. One morning, he took a package to a very big and expensive house. The house had signs on it that said they would shoot anyone who walked onto the property. Nico rang the doorbell. The rich man inside the house started yelling at Nico through a speaker. The man told Nico to put the package inside a special box. This box was made by the Department of Sanitation to clean packages with chemicals before bringing them inside. The rich man refused to give Nico an extra tip because Nico arrived late. The man also said he wanted a different delivery guy next time. Nico felt that the man was just mean and jealous of his freedom. Later, Nico went to a warehouse. His boss, Lester, ran the delivery company. Lester used drones and GPS to watch his workers all day. Lester saw that Nico's icon on the map was not moving. He called Nico on a video call and caught him playing basketball. Lester scolded Nico for ignoring important deliveries and told him to get back to work immediately.
Meanwhile, a girl named Emma spent her day watching online videos at home. Her mother, Piper, woke up, and Emma asked if a friend could come over to visit. Piper said no, because Emma had a sickness that made her body very weak, so it was not safe. They both took the virus test on their phones and passed. Then, Emma yelled loudly to remind her dad to take his test too. Her dad, William, was exercising while watching the news on TV. The news showed a new Q zone that just opened. The reporter said the conditions inside the zone were terrible and cruel. When William heard his daughter call him, he rushed to take the test on his phone, and he passed too. Just then, Nico arrived at their house to drop off some packages. Emma was very happy just to look at a real person through the window for a change. Nico put the packages into their cleaning box. He was very happy because this family left him a very big tip. After leaving Emma's house, Nico sat on top of a roof to take another short break from his job. Nico made a video call to his girlfriend, Sarah, to show her the beautiful view of the city. However, the view was ruined by a giant billboard owned by Nico's boss, Lester. Sarah shared the video view with her grandmother, Lita, because neither of them could leave their small apartment. Nico and Sarah had never met in real life. They only had virtual dates through their phone screens. At the same time, Lester got an angry message from a client because Nico was late. Lester called his drone worker, Dozer, and told him to find Nico right away.
Dozer used his drone and found Nico on the roof very quickly. Lester sent a text message to Nico saying, "I can see you." Nico looked up at the drone camera, showed it his middle finger, and kept riding his bike. Suddenly, Nico hit a military checkpoint in the street. Soldiers pointed big guns at him. Nico quickly showed them his immunity bracelet, and the soldiers let him pass. When Nico finished all his deliveries for the day, he went home and washed his body very well. Then he fixed his motorcycle. He was super excited when the engine finally started and made a loud noise. Nico had been saving his money for a big plan. He wanted to run away with Sarah to a place called Big Sur in California. No one had caught the virus there for 6 months. To do this, Nico needed to buy a fake immunity bracelet for Sarah. Meanwhile, Piper got a call from a wealthy friend. The friend wanted to travel outside the city limits and knew Piper could get fake bracelets. Piper charged the friend $300,000 for the favor. Then, Piper sent a secret text message to her contact person inside the Department of Sanitation.
The next day, Nico walked into an empty, abandoned building. It was the old office where he used to work before the virus started. He played around for a while and found a box of drawing pencils, which made him happy. In another part of the city, a singer named May was singing live on the internet for her fans. Dozer watched her stream and sent her $100. He wrote a message saying her songs helped him when he was a soldier in the army. May sang his favorite song. William and Sarah were also watching May's live video from their own homes. However, Sarah's grandmother, Lita, did not like the sad song. She wished they could listen to happy salsa music instead. Just then, Nico arrived outside their apartment with a special delivery. Sarah opened the cleaning box and found a poem from Nico and the box of pencils. Sarah loved the pencils because she was an artist. They looked at each other through the screen and promised to kiss in person one day. Suddenly, Lester called Nico on the phone, yelled at him to stop talking, and told him to go back to work.
When the live video ended, May sent a private message to Dozer to thank him for the $100. She convinced him to do a video call so they could talk. May offered to listen to his problems like a good friend. Dozer explained that he had been stuck inside his house since before the virus started. He lost the use of his legs during the war and had to use a wheelchair. When he came home, people ignored him because he was disabled. So he stopped going outside completely. He had not left his house in 6 years. Dozer showed May his drone video feed. He proved to her that the streets were just as dangerous and bad as the news said. That night, a cruel sanitation leader named Emmett found a man who had escaped from a Q-zone. The man cried and swore he did not have the virus. Emmett did not care. He pulled out a knife and stabbed the man to death in the street. Meanwhile, Nico set up a movie projector in his yard to have a virtual movie date with Sarah. Suddenly, their date was interrupted because Lita started coughing very badly in the background.
Sarah touched her grandmother's head and found out she had a high fever. In just 2 seconds, many trucks from the Department of Sanitation surrounded their building. The workers ran upstairs and started pounding on Sarah's door to break it down. Just then, Emmett arrived in the hallway. He told his workers they had the wrong apartment number. Sarah watched her security cameras and saw the workers break into her neighbor's apartment across the hall to arrest a woman. The scared neighbor ran to Sarah's door and begged for help. Sarah wanted to open the door, but Nico spoke to her through the phone. He told her to stay quiet so she could stay safe. The workers grabbed the neighbor and took her away. Then Emmett knocked on Sarah's door and said he knew someone was inside. Sarah had to answer. Emmett told her that many people in the building were sick, and he asked if she had left her room. Sarah lied and said she stayed inside, so Emmett walked away.
After that, Sarah covered her body with clothes and brought medicine to Lita. Lita kept telling Sarah to stay away so Sarah wouldn't get sick. Nico arrived outside the building, but he couldn't go inside. He sat on the floor right outside Sarah's apartment door. They talked all night through their phone screens about their favorite memories. Sarah cried because she knew Lita would fail the phone test in the morning and the workers would take them both away. Nico refused to leave Sarah and promised he would find a way to save her. Meanwhile, at the big mansion, William put on an oxygen mask and tried to sneak out of the house. His wife, Piper, caught him in the hallway. William swore he had an important work meeting. Piper did not believe him. She said that every time he left the house, he brought dangerous germs home to their sick daughter. William reminded her that his secret job paid for their food and house. Piper became upset, but let him go. She told him he must burn all his clothes the moment he came back home.
Then, Piper went to check on Emma. Emma was worried and thought her dad was doing dangerous things. Emma called herself weak and asked if her mom wished she had a normal daughter. Piper hugged her and swore she was perfect, just the way she was. A few minutes later, William met May at a motel. May wore a mask and a disguise to hide her face. William was tired of the masks, so he ripped them off, and they spent time together. Later, when William came home, Piper watched him burn his clothes in the fire. The next morning, Sarah took the virus test on her phone. She passed, but Lita failed the test. The phone app showed a warning saying the sanitation workers were coming to get them. Nico was awake outside the door and heard everything. He begged Sarah to run away with him. Sarah refused to leave her dying grandmother and told Nico to save himself. Nico promised he would find a pass for her, and he ran out of the building while Sarah cried inside.
Nico called his boss, Lester, and asked for 2 immunity bracelets. Lester said he did not have any, but he told Nico a big secret. He revealed that Piper and William were the rich people making the illegal bracelets. Nico realized that the heavy packages he had been delivering to their house were actually the fake bracelets. Nico rushed to his own home, grabbed all his saved money, and went to the mansion to ask the rich couple for help. William pretended he didn't know anything about it and slammed the door. Inside the house, William and Piper had a big fight. Only a few trusted people were supposed to know about their illegal bracelet business, and someone had leaked the secret. Piper wanted to fix the problem, so she went back to the door. She told Nico that William was just being careful. She asked Nico who told him about their business. Nico lied and said nobody told him,
He just guessed because they were rich and had connections. Piper lied and said she had no bracelets left, but she gave him an address to a building where he could buy one.
Nico jumped on his motorcycle and drove fast to the address. Back in the apartment, Sarah watched over Lita. Lita said her last words of love to Sarah and then died. At the same time, Nico arrived at the empty building and met Emmett. Emmett showed him a computer and asked for the names and IDs of the people Nico wanted to help so he could program the bracelets. Nico was scared to give the names. Emmett swore he was a good guy and offered his hand to shake on the deal. When Nico shook Emmett's hand, Emmett suddenly pulled out a knife and stabbed Nico in the side. Emmett yelled and demanded to know the names of the sick people. Nico was angry. He hit Emmett with his head to break free. Nico checked the box next to the computer, but it was empty. He realized Piper had sent him into a deadly trap. Emmett called his guards. Nico was bleeding badly, but he ran up the stairs to hide. The guards shot at him with guns, and Nico hid behind big machines.
Nico found an empty metal can and threw it across the room to make a noise. He hoped the guards would run toward the sound. However, the guards did not fall for the trick. They found Nico and were about to arrest him. Suddenly, a man named Boomer appeared behind the guards. Boomer knocked 2 guards out cold, took their guns, and pulled Nico away to save him. Boomer explained he was tired of Emmett's men leaving dead bodies in his building, so he started fighting back. Soon, 2 more guards showed up in the hallway. Boomer and Nico hid, and Boomer started shooting at them. The guards hid too and looked for them. Boomer ripped a heavy refrigerator door off and hit a guard to bring him down. Nico picked up an iron pipe and hit the other guard on the head to knock him out. A loud alarm started ringing. Nico ran downstairs to get to his bike, but Boomer stayed behind to keep fighting the rest of the guards. While Nico drove away, William called Lester and demanded to know where Nico was. Lester lied and said Nico was not working that day. William did not believe him, so Lester lied again and said Nico had turned off his GPS tracker. After they hung up, William told Piper that Lester was definitely the person who told their secret. Nico went to his house to fix his bleeding wound. Sarah called him on the phone and cried, telling him that Lita was dead. Nico felt terrible and told her to hide before the workers arrived. Meanwhile, May and Dozer were still talking on their video call. They had become very close friends. May cried and told Dozer that William was a bad man. He used to be a big music boss who promised to make her a famous star. He brought her to that motel right before the lockdown started, so she got trapped there for 4 years, and he used her. She had a breakdown because she felt totally alone and had no future in music.
Right then, William started sending many mean text messages to May, saying he was coming to see her tonight. May did not reply, so he kept spamming her phone. Dozer saw that May was terrified and told her to stand up for herself. May texted William and told him to leave her alone. This made William angrier, and he kept calling her. Finally, May answered the call to break up with him face to face. When William yelled at her, May revealed a big secret. She said she had secret videotapes of him selling illegal immunity bracelets on the black market. She told him that if he did not leave her alone, she would post the videos on the internet for everyone to see. Piper was standing outside William's office door and heard everything. William hung up the phone in a rage and went to grab his gun, but it was missing. Piper walked in holding the gun. She told him she always knew about his cheating.
Piper said she did not care about his extra women, but she cared about their daughter Emma, and William was putting Emma in danger by leaving the house. William tried to talk, but Piper pointed the gun. Then Piper called May on the phone and told her to run away fast because people might come to the motel. May immediately called Dozer, and Dozer told her she could come stay at his safe apartment. Nico arrived back at the mansion and sneaked inside through an open door. Lester saw Nico's GPS dot inside the mansion on his computer screen and called Piper to warn her. At the exact same time, sanitation trucks surrounded Sarah's apartment building. Sarah tried to call Nico, but Nico turned off his phone sound so the people in the mansion wouldn't hear him. Sarah took a quick photo of the sanitation truck through her window.
Emmett and his workers broke down Sarah's front door with tools. Sarah hid in her bedroom. When a worker walked into the dark room to look for her, Sarah hit him very hard with a baseball bat and knocked him out. She quickly took off his heavy protective hazmat suit and put it on herself. The suit mask hid her face completely. She walked out and helped the other workers carry Lita's body back down to the truck, and no one suspected a thing. Inside the mansion, Nico was looking for the bracelets. Piper hid Emma in the bathroom and then found Nico. She pointed her gun at him and yelled at him for endangering her daughter. Nico dropped to his knees and explained he was just trying to save his girlfriend, and he swore he never told anyone their secret. Piper felt bad for him. He lowered her gun,
opened her computer, and typed in Sarah's information to create a real immunity bracelet for him.
Back at the motel, May got into her car, but it would not start. Suddenly, a dangerous guard broke her window, reached inside, and grabbed her by the neck to choke her. Just then, Dozer's drone flew down from the sky. The drone shot the bad man in the head and killed him instantly. May screamed in shock as the drone flew away. Dozer sent her a text message saying, "I will always protect you." After putting Lita's body in the truck, Sarah waited until the workers were looking away and ran into the street. Inside the apartment, Emmett found his unconscious worker and ordered his guards to find the missing girl. A few minutes later, Sarah reached the main road, but the sanitation truck surrounded her. Emmett pulled off her mask and called her stupid. He realized that since she lived with Lita and didn't get sick, her body was naturally immune.
Sarah demanded to be set free. Emmett laughed and told his men to arrest her anyway so they could lock her up in the Q zone forever. A few moments later, Nico kicked open the apartment door, but everyone was gone except Emmett. Emmett boasted about his past. He used to drive trash trucks, but when his bosses died from the virus, he took over the city. Emmett told Nico that immune people were like gods who could do whatever they wanted without rules. Suddenly, Emmett pulled out his knife and tried to stab Nico. Nico was too fast. He grabbed Sarah's artist pencil from the table and stabbed Emmett straight in the neck. Emmett stumbled around the room, bleeding heavily, and died on the floor. On his way out, Nico found Sarah's dropped phone and saw the photo of the sanitation truck. He called Lester and said Lester owed him a favor for snitching on him earlier. Lester took the truck's license plate number and told Dozer to track it with his drone.
In a few minutes, Dozer's drone found the truck arriving at the gates of the Q-Zone camp. Nico rode his motorcycle as fast as possible. He arrived just in time to see guards dragging Sarah out of the truck. The guards pointed their guns at Nico, but Sarah broke away from them and ran toward him. Nico reached out and snapped the legal immunity bracelet onto her wrist just in time. The guards grabbed Sarah again, but Nico pointed at her arm. The guards scanned the bracelet with their machine, and it confirmed she was officially safe and immune. The guards had to follow the law, so they let her go. Finally, Nico and Sarah held hands and shared their very first real kiss in person.
3 months later, the world was better. May was safe and singing live from her new home. Dozer finally tore down the black paper from his windows to let the sunlight in. He used his drone to show May a beautiful view of the beach and asked her to go outside with him. On the TV news, the dead men, William and Emmett, were exposed for their terrible crimes because of May's videos. The police were now investigating Piper's house. Piper gave her maid a lot of money and sent her home to be safe with her family. Meanwhile, Lester opened a package at his office. It was a letter from Nico saying he and Sarah had escaped safely to a beautiful place. Inside the package, Nico left Lester a real immunity bracelet as a gift.
So, what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.